In a world where entertainment is viewed as mindless diversion, only good for momentary distraction, you are about to enter a new world, and you will never view entertainment in the same way again. This is Popcorn Theology.
I'm Richard.
And I am David. And this week we're going to talk about the epic tale involving fencing, fighting, torture, revenge, giants, monsters, chases, escapes, twue, wove, and miracles.
That sounds like a really good movie. What movie is that?
That would be the Bible.
The Bible?
Oh,
you tricked me. Oh, man.
Except for... Nope, just kidding. All of them. They're all in there. Except maybe chases. Well, there's some chases. There's got to be at least one chase
scene. There is a chase
scene.
in there. There is a couple chases in there.
Are there?
Wasn't there... Which prophet was it, outran some chariots?
Elijah.
That's a chase
or
scene.
Elisha.
That's a chase scene.
I get them mixed up.
Whichever one that was.
One of the Elisons.
So we talk about the Bible every week, though. Is there another story that incorporates all of these elements?
Yes, the Princess Bride.
Oh, right.
Yes.
I'm excited.
Fantastic movie, fantastic book. And that is the topic for today's podcast. So we're excited about that, but a little bit of housekeeping as we get into that.
Up in the sky, look! It's a bird! It's a plane!
Cinemagogue, The Marvelous Era. James Harleman here, the cinema guy, announcing the sequel to my first book on film and faith. Let's face it, entertainment has changed dramatically since the first book published in 2012, and comic book characters and franchises are everywhere. So I decided to set my sights on superheroes and examine the evolution of Hollywood in this follow-up to the first Cinemagogue book. For example, what does Loki tell us about culture's view of God? Why does the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the Infinity Saga continually align with biblical themes? In the Marvelous Era, I review each film and show not only how the individual movies express gospel parallels, but each phase essentially reveals a multi-point sermon. I also explore DC, Star Wars, the Monsterverse, and more. Without compromising scriptural truth, we can sift these stories and discover how we might reject, receive, and redeem ideas for personal reflection and Christian conversation. Also, has Hollywood's messaging gotten worse? The book explores ways these marvelous mythologies correspond with conversion, Christian living, church history, and Reformation, but I do also highlight what has been the entertainment industry's darker, indoctrinating decade, as well as toxic fandom and the dangers of immersion in pop culture that just might drown us spiritually if we're not careful. So suit up, assemble, and join me on a journey to the Infinity Saga and beyond. Cinemagogue, The Marvel Us Era. Now available on Amazon.com in paperback, hardcover, and Kindle editions.
Hey, this is David, and if you're listening to Popcorn Theology, it's probably because you're interested in theology or movies, or best of all, both. And that means that you're our kind of people, sharing common interests with our listeners and viewers as well. So why not partner with us and advertise your business or ministry right here on Popcorn Theology? We're looking for great, like-minded sponsors and offer reasonable rates with a variety of formats to get your message out. Remember, our fans aren't mindless consumers, so they'll give you thoughtful consideration. That's a big part of what we're all about here. So for more information on advertising with us, contact feedback@popcorntheology.com.
We're kind of dealing with a lighter movie this week, so I don't think we'll take as long.
Yeah.
As we tend to get long-winded. I say we won't take as long, but we will. We will.
May have said something like that about Avengers, too.
Yeah, and then we
pull the plug on me.
Right. You know,
Richard was over here with one of those long, shepherd's crooks trying to pull me off stage type thing.
Well, that's one of the movies you could go on and on about. If we go on and on that long about Princess Bride, we need to
Yeah. It's great.
But we might.
We may. Who knows?
We may.
One reason that we may go on and on about it is I just recently read a book. I asked for it for Christmas and got it. Carrie Elwes wrote a book called As You Wish, Inconceivable Tales from the Making of the Princess Bride. And I've recently lent it to Richard.
And he hasn't read it yet. But he will. He will.
Yes. It's fantastic. It's probably the fastest this is embarrassing for me to admit. This is probably the fastest I have ever read a book, fiction or nonfiction, just because it was really enjoyable, fun, well written, full of just little facts. And so much happened during the making of this movie that I'm not involved in filmmaking, so I don't know what normally happens, but there are just so many little things and just fun facts about the different actors and just random stuff that happens, and I'll probably sprinkle some of that in here, maybe a little too much of it in, but we'll see how it goes.
So there's a recommendation from
there you go.
David Lee says, go out and pick up As You Wish by Carrie. How do you say his last name? Elwes?
Elwes, yeah.
Elwes. Carrie Elwes.
Yeah, I recommend the PDF or the what's the word? I'm sorry. The Kindle version is probably great, but in the hard copy, which I have here, it's hardback. The center there's some color plates, I don't know if they're called that anymore, but whatever. Color pictures of the making of the movie, some behind the scenes
Cool
stuff.
to see Andre the Giant. I did flip through that. I haven't read it yet, but I flipped through the pictures.
Yeah, it was like my
on
first
that guy.
thing. And they're elsewhere in the book too, in black and white, but they're right there in the middle in color. And also the cover of the book folds out into this poster, this little poster that artistically done. You know, it's like a comic book type sketch of Wesley and Buttercup in the fire swamp. And anyway, it's neat. So I recommend the actual copy of it. And I really enjoyed it.
I need to read it. You just talking about it makes me realize I need to get
good.
Actually buckle down and read that. I just haven't had the chance to. School's been crazy, but I have less schoolwork in the summer, so I should actually be able to fit some reading in, some stuff other than school reading.
Right, yeah.
Which I'm getting quite tired of. Awesome.
So yeah, this is. Do you remember when you first saw this movie, or is it something you grew up with?
Honestly, no, I didn't grow up with it. It was like 4 or 5 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, I did not grow up with that movie at all. For whatever reason, it just slipped under the radar with me. We never watched it when I was growing up, and I think the first time I ever watched it was with my wife a few years ago.
Nice.
And I'm trying to remember if she had seen it before or if it was new to both of us. I can't remember.
See, that's a neat. I'm almost jealous because I saw it. Like, I don't remember first seeing it. We watched it a lot growing up. Like, I kind of have it memorized, and that's not a great thing, but I'm not too ashamed of it. Watched it a lot growing up. It was just a family favorite.
Own that.
Own that. Yeah, that's fine. If any of you haven't seen it, I'm just shocked. But
obviously, spoiler heavy.
Yeah, this will be spoiler heavy. But if you haven't seen it, then this is just by far probably one of the best movies ever made. Fun for everyone, and not family friendly in like a dopey cheesy way where it's like it's actually a little. I mean, there's some blood. And there's a little bit of violence, but it's incredibly moderate and contextualized.
And there's really nothing in there.
There's no nudity, no sex, no swear, not a single swear word, not a single...
One swear word.
Is there? I don't remember it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Inigo says it.
Yeah. You picked right up
Told
on
you.
that.
Told you how to...
Yeah, because it actually surprised me. I was watching it just a few hours ago, and it surprised me. I was like, wow, there was no cursing in this whole movie. But that may get into a whole other topic, because cursing... I don't necessarily feel like it's always wrong, but I feel like we just use that kind of stuff way too much. And I think that's kind of what happened in the movie. Like, that one moment, it was appropriate.
Yeah.
It was like,
pretty
you
appropriate.
needed to say it. So take that for what you will. But I think that it was interesting. It was just the one swear word.
Yeah.
And it's when Inigo gets his comeuppance.
Yep. And it's the B word if anyone is interested.
Yeah.
And knowing it's not like they dropped a hard F or anything like that.
No.
So it's fantastic movie, just a timeless classic, if you ask me. One of the best. But I can't remember a time when I didn't know what this movie was. I kind of wish that I could see it, like you said, 4 years ago with fresh eyes, because I didn't understand like any of the references. Because there's a lot of modern references in there.
Yeah,
they never get involved in a land war in Asia type thing. Like, completely over my head as like a 4-year-old or whatever.
Okay,
all right, no problem.
Sounds good. Yeah,
put that on my list.
Yeah, it's actually funny the way you're talking about that. It almost puts in mind of people that talk with other Christians, and they'll like debate, is it better to be raised or when you were an adult you became to faith, and so when that moment was. Right. It kind of almost sounds similar to that sort of a conversation. Like, I was raised with it. I was raised appreciating Princess Bride.
Exactly.
I don't have that moment of realization of how great it was. That's funny.
For what it's worth, we're not equating
the
Princess Bride.
No, I'm just saying it's what it sounds.
It's good, but it ain't that good.
No, not even close. Not even close.
So yeah, it's anyway, for our family it was just a big thing growing up. I didn't even realize that you hadn't seen it until so recently.
No, it was pretty recent that I watched it. Someone that I work, actually I want to say Jason Ward, who is in our group, and has been listening faithfully. Hi, Jason. I think he was the first one that told me about Princess Bride when I was working with him at Wise Market. So actually, I'm going to take that back. It was like 7 years ago. Well,
still, that's
you
were an adult.
Yeah,
at that point.
I was an adult at that point. I had a kid.
There,
so for better or worse, I'm an adult.
There you go.
Yeah,
there's no way out of it there. Yep.
It's a great movie, though.
Yes,
it really is one of the better.
And one reason it may have fallen between the cracks for you growing up is because it was so diverse that they actually had a lot of trouble marketing this movie. They didn't know how to sell it because, and again, more info in that book, they talk about everybody loved the book, but there were studios that were afraid to even touch it, making it into a movie because they were worried they'd mess it up because it's such a different type thing. There's humor. What is it? Is it an action movie? Is it a suspense movie? Is it a comedy? Is it a romance movie? It's all of those things.
Yeah.
And so when they went to market it, they didn't really know how to do it. So
Honestly,
it was sort of a box office.
I think
like,
too when I was younger, like maybe teenager or a little younger. I think I remember seeing The Case. I'm like, oh, The Princess Bride.
Lame.
Yeah, I'm not gonna watch that. Like that sounds like a chick flick or something, and it's totally not.
No,
it's great. It's absolutely great. But I think it just if you didn't know anything about it and you just heard that title and saw The Case, you'd be like, doesn't sound interesting at all to me. You know?
It's certainly not just a chick flick. I mean, it's a movie that everybody
enjoys.
Seems to enjoy. I haven't met a single person who's like, I mean, maybe some people who said it was overrated.
If you don't like Princess Bride, you're not regenerate for one thing. Like you're not, I feel like you need to repent and in sackcloth and ashes.
What do we ask them firmly but politely to leave the group?
Yes. Politely. No, it's okay if you don't like it, but you're wrong. But it's okay.
But you should listen to this whole podcast and then make your decision.
Yeah, because it's a great movie.
It is.
It really is.
There's so much with the characters. The movie starts with the farm boy Wesley, and then the spoiled brat Buttercup.
Well, it kind of starts with that. He starts with the grandfather.
Oh, yes.
Honestly. Which is weird when you put the movie in and you don't... Like, again, I'm thinking of this as an adult watching it. I remember watching it the first time and going, why am I in a little kid's bedroom? Does not look like the cover at all. How is this going to connect?
With the very dated 80s baseball video game.
Yeah.
Is the first thing that you see.
Yes. And there's all the toys behind him. Did you get all the references of the toys behind him?
I guess I haven't looked that closely at
them. The kid in the background, there's Transformers, Captain America.
Whoa.
A Doritos bag.
All things I love.
All kinds of really cool stuff behind him. So that's how the film starts. And then I guess the story, they read the story, and that's how you jump in.
A fun fact about the book, not As You Wish, but the book The Princess Bride, is you would think that the book that the granddad is reading to the son, to the grandson, is the way that Bill Goldman wrote it. It's not. It's a book within a book situation. So if you opened up Bill Goldman's The Princess Bride, there is a grandfather, there is a grandson. He's playing video games.
Oh, really?
There is, yeah. That whole situation
I thought
happens.
that was just cinematography, like adding that little bit.
I thought so too, but my brother read the book. I still haven't read it. my brother read it, and he told me, he said, yeah, that's all in there. And
I should totally read the book.
The whole book is
sounds
written
amazing.
as like a flashback type thing. It's really unique.
I wonder if it diverges at all.
I don't think very, very strongly, because he was very involved. The writer was also the screenwriter. And so he was very involved with the director in making the movie.
That's cool.
He was very nervous about the making. Again, I'm just channeling this book As You Wish at the moment. But he wrote it for his daughters. They really, he was an author already, a very accomplished author, and he really wanted to write something just for them. So that's why it's about princesses and pirates and brides, and that's why it's very fairy tale-y. But it's so well done that it appeals to everyone, adults, kids, and anyway, I could just go on for hours about how great this movie is.
Just glancing the surface of the movie because of how awesome of a movie it is.
But anyway, so yeah, Buttercup. So he begins by reading the story to his grandson who's sick, and the kid's just a brat. He's not interested. He'd rather play his little whatever video game that would have been.
Like he basically doesn't want the grandfather there at first.
Yeah.
Does he have to come in? Do you have to read that story?
It's got kissing in it.
It's got kissing in it. I don't want to hear that story. Yeah.
But then he gets into it, and you open on what I, for some reason, thought was the beginning of the movie.
It's the beginning of the story.
Yeah.
So that's fair.
Yeah.
That's
with
fair.
Buttercup and Wesley. And he's the farm boy. And he's just taking care of this girl who doesn't seem to have a family or anything.
I thought that too today. That never occurred to me. Like, why does she have a servant if she's this poor peasant girl, first of all?
All by herself. Yeah.
It's a very weird scenario. I think it doesn't matter. It's just ultimately...
As plot holes go, that's the only one in the movie.
He's just a servant to her, and he just does whatever she asks. And what's the line? The name of the book here.
As you wish.
As you wish. Anything she wants. As you wish. As you wish. As you wish. Which is cool.
Yeah, and he's incredibly patient with her, and eventually she comes to love him and to realize that he loves her, and it's super sweet. And this is an area we haven't gotten into in this podcast yet.
Right.
Is sweetness and romance.
We have sweetness and romance.
Two dudes sitting in a room.
Yeah, it's not weird.
But yeah, Buttercup, anyway, just a remarkable story, remarkable character, and throughout the movie, she thinks that Wesley has died. He goes off to find his fortune across the sea and gets captured by pirates as far as she knows and is killed and everything like that. And so she's all like, oh, I'll never love again, blah, blah, blah. And then she becomes betrothed to the king or the prince, I guess.
The prince, he's going to be the king. And I guess it wasn't her choice is what it's insinuated. He just picks her.
Yeah,
they
her
don't
parents
really say why.
that don't exist didn't have anything to say.
He just picks her.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why her. I never really got that either.
Yeah.
He just picks her.
Well, she's beautiful.
Yeah, she's pretty, I guess. That's all.
Yeah, I guess so. So anyway, and she's moved on basically relatively quickly. And then she's captured as she's riding through the fields. She's captured by Andre the Giant.
And Wallace Shawn.
Yep.
Inconceivable.
Rex from Toy Story.
Right.
And the guy from, what's that show he was in? Some crime show.
I don't know if I know him from anything else.
Well, this is what he's best known for,
yeah.
but he's in some crime movie. It'll come to me later.
Montoya.
I want to say like Criminal Minds. That is it. He was on Criminal Minds with a full beard. Fantastic. Anyway, so she's kidnapped by Andre the Giant, the pro wrestler, and this T-Rex. And anyway, we're messing a lot with the story at this point. But
yeah.
Anyway, so
we're giving like the whole synopsis of the story. So basically, you're just going to hear us tell you the story, and then we're going to call it a day.
Fade in.
Yeah, right. It's awesome. And then there's twists and turns. You find out that it was actually the prince that hired them to get her. Spoilers all over the place. We warned you.
Yeah.
It was actually a well thought out story for the most part. Oh yeah. Even though it's a lighthearted movie.
He took it seriously, even though it was for his kids. He took it. I think he maybe took it more seriously when writing it.
So one of the things I think that jumped out, I think to both of us, is just the relationship between Wesley and Buttercup. That he is such a servant to her. That even early on, she basically wants nothing to do with him. He's just there to do whatever she wants. This is what I need you to do. Do that, do that, do that. As you wish, as you wish. And then eventually she realizes, wow, he just keeps serving me. He must really think a lot of me. And then all of a sudden she comes to a realization that she has feelings for him too. And this one just came to my mind. I can't remember where the scripture is where it talks about God's kindness leading people to repentance. It's kind of that whole thing where it's he was so kind to her. He didn't even voice his feelings. He just was extra kind to her until she realized it herself, which is interesting.
It even says at some point that she loved nothing more than torturing the farm boy. So
Yeah.
she like messed with him.
Yeah.
And I'm sure in the book they get more into it, but making him do ridiculous, like, get me that picture that's right next to me. It's
Yeah.
like, well, okay, as you wish,
Yeah.
and he's just loves her the whole time, and it's just remarkable. And she's just this perfect image of, at that point in her life, and then a little later on in the movie, the bride that doesn't want anything to do with the bridegroom.
Yeah.
And that's just a fantastic image of Christ in the church.
Yeah. And I think it was James Harleman. We both kind of looked over his article on the movie as well. And I liked what he had said that at no point in the movie should we ever identify with Wesley. We are Buttercup. We're the one in distress. We're the one that needs to be saved from whatever it is going on. We're the ones that really don't deserve it because we kind of treat him like crap.
Yeah.
Like, if I can say crap. I don't know. Is that a cuss word?
Nah.
I just said it. Explicit. So, yeah. We're Buttercup. We're not Wesley. We're Buttercup. Right. We're the ones that ought to be showing, love to him, and we don't. So, it's a cool dynamic in the movie. I don't know if they were getting at that at all, but it's one of the things. I think it's another one of those things where it shines through whether they meant to or not.
Yeah.
It's just, it comes to us naturally in some levels.
Yeah, and it reminds me, too, Robin Wright is the actress who plays Buttercup. Another movie she's very known for. She's just fantastic. But she was also Jenny in Forrest Gump. And Jenny in Forrest Gump.
I don't think I ever made that connection before.
She's great.
That is the same.
Although I hate her in that movie. Like, her character.
Right.
But at the same time, in Forrest Gump, if I had to pick a character that I would say I most relate with, it would be Jenny.
Right.
Because she's constantly running from Forrest. I mean, just going away, getting hooked in drugs, getting hooked up with the wrong people, getting diseases, and all kinds of just bad stuff. And he just constantly forgives her and loves her no matter what. He never lets go of that love he has for her. And I feel like in Forrest Gump, almost more than definitely more than in this, she's the image of the type of bride that we are to Christ. And that just shows how undeserving we are of the love that Christ gives us, is just the fact that we just spit in his face. And you can read through the entire Old Testament and see the way that the children of Israel treated the Lord. And if you look...
And he even compares her to an adulteress. Compares his people, basically, to an adulterous wife or an adulterous woman, whatever you want to call it. It's vivid, like, language. But that's the reality.
Absolutely.
You know? I think I've often... This may be going way off topic, but I've often wondered if one of the reasons... There's many reasons, but one of the reasons why adultery is such a big deal is because it is a picture of idolatry. It's the same... Like, the turning from God and adultery are... the same sort of heart, almost that unfaithful, you know.
And you're messing with God's image of his relationship to us at that point.
Yeah, when you read Ephesians 5 and it talks about husbands and wives, without going into the whole text, he basically says, what I'm writing right now is about Christ and the church. But see to it that the husbands love their wives and the wives submit to their husbands, that whole line. So he's giving practical application, but he's saying really the ultimate reality is Christ and his people. And marriage's image is that. Who created people and marriage and all these things? Well, God did. And he made it to image what he ultimately wanted to. So I don't know if that's the case or not, but that's how I've always felt about that.
Yeah. It might be worth even just getting into that passage here. I got to open to Ephesians 5, verses 25 through 33. And I think it's just remarkable that Wesley is just the perfect image of kind of like what a husband should be in this scenario. So in those ways, Wesley is definitely not someone we should strive for in the image of Christ.
Right.
In the Christ figure.
But in the narrative of this story, he's filling that role.
Right, yeah.
For the most part.
So in Ephesians 5:25, husbands, love your wives, just as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for her, that he might sanctify and cleanse her with the washing of water by the word, that he might present her to himself a glorious church, not having spot or wrinkle or any such thing, but that she should be holy and without blemish. So husbands ought to love their own wives as their own bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself. For no one ever hated his own flesh, but nourishes it and cleanses it, just as the Lord does the church. For we are members of his body, of his flesh, and of his bones. And then it refers back to Genesis here, where it says, for this reason, a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. This is a great mystery, but I speak concerning Christ and the church. And this is just, and then I guess verse 33 as well. Nevertheless, let each one of you in particular so love his own wife as himself, and let the wife see that she respects her husband. And I didn't bring this up earlier, but one reason that this movie has a lot of meaning to me is that it was actually referenced a lot during my wedding.
That's awesome.
To my wife, Mandy. The guy who had, the officiant for our wedding, had done our premarital counseling. And in doing so, we talked a lot about this movie. And so we didn't know he was going to do this. During
That's a bold move.
Yeah.
That's
really,
a risky maneuver.
It's a gutsy move.
It could have really made you all mad, depending on the kind of people you were.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, so we didn't know he was exactly what he was going to say, but we'd given him some verses that we really wanted him to focus on, one of which was that verse from Genesis, leaving and cleaving, that idea. But when he started talking about, he dropped at least 6 or 8 references to the Princess Bride into our wedding, and it was pretty great, and everybody got a lot of kicks out of it. Awesome. Including, of course, marriage.
Twue, wove.
So this is it's just a perfect relationship movie because it shows exactly the way that a man is supposed to lead. And that's something that is so lacking in our culture. The ideal man in any of these stories is typically macho. Mm-hmm. I mean, and very rarely is he a good combination of strong, bold, and at the same time humble and a servant.
Right? And you don't get that usually. You usually get you get the extreme of one or the other.
Yeah.
Or just a complete mess up. Does nothing right. You get that a lot. But if you're going to get a good quality, it would either be the really strong macho guy that's kind of a ignorant.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to say a word because it'd probably be a bad one. Or you get the humble servant one that's kind of weak and doesn't ever really lead. But we are called as Christian men to be both.
Right.
I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think Christ embodies both in his earthly life.
He even commands his disciples, and this might be stretching a bit out of the context, but
he
commands the disciples to be as wise as serpents and as as wise as serpents and as gentle as doves. And I think that's something that this is just a great image of that. He is that. He doesn't take crap from anybody.
Right.
When it comes to him and his bride, he doesn't
Right.
let anybody mess with her if he can have something to say about it.
Yeah. You even see Wesley in the film when they surround him and he's basically willing to die. All those people with the crossbows aimed at him.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying, "Nope, you have to kill me.
Yeah.
You're not taking her. Nope." And she's the one that steps in and says, "No, just don't hurt him."
Yeah.
Of course, that didn't work. But at any rate, he was willing to lay down his life for her, and ultimately he mostly laid down his life for her. He does wind up being tortured and then mostly laying down his life for her, which is really cool.
Yep.
Before we get too far away from like their relationship too, I thought it was really cool that at the end of the film you see basically the same parallel with the grandfather and the grandson. That it's not just they read that story and isn't that a nice ideal, but they're reading the story and he's modeling the same sort of servant. What's the word for it? Servanthood? I don't know.
Yeah.
Being a servant to his grandson, the way
Yeah.
that Wesley was being a servant to his bride in the movie. Even to the point where finally, the grandson wanted no parts of the book, and then at the end of it, "Can you come and read it again the next day?" "As you wish," he says, the exact same line. But I think it kind of harkens to how like what we see in Scripture of the way Christ lived is to show us that he was the perfect person that died in our place and all that. But it's also, if we lived like him, that would be an awful lot better. So he's both our substitute and our example, and I think that they really highlighted that part of it.
Yeah.
He told the story, and then the grandfather even modeled the moral lesson from the story for the grandson, which was cool.
Yeah, that's really, I didn't even think about that. Yeah. I think the one thing this just stood out to me in thinking about the name, the Princess Bride. Okay, she was to be a princess in that she was going to marry Prince Humperdinck. She was going to be a bride in that she was going to marry Prince Humperdinck. If you actually go to the end of the movie, she was running off with Wesley into the sunset. At that point, she's neither a princess nor a bride.
No.
But it's okay, because this movie is fantastic.
Yeah,
I just realized that.
Things that make no sense about it. That's true.
We love this movie, so we're going to tear it apart.
Yeah.
No, that kind of just occurred to me. That's the only reason she was going to be a princess, because she wasn't a princess otherwise.
Well, see, she was a princess to him.
Mm-hmm.
Because they had twue wove.
And then, of course, they were going to have a wedding at some point.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Maybe Fezzik would officiate it. That would be fantastic.
That would be awesome. Could have been.
Yeah.
What else do we have in the film as far as was anything that jumped out to us? I know we talked about their relationship, how he was a servant, and how she was really unappreciative, but eventually comes around.
Mm-hmm.
We already talked a little bit about like Wesley suffering for. We even have him like resurrecting from almost death.
Yeah.
It's hard not to see that parallel a little bit. He dies,
Mm-hmm.
gets brought back to life, and then storms the castle for his bride. Like that's okay.
Exactly.
There's
a lot of parallels involved there. I mean, like, and they're sort of separate, but at the beginning, he leaves a poor farm boy to go find his fortune, and then he returns with power. He returns as a pirate. I mean,
right.
Let's be honest. He probably did some despicable things while he was away.
Yeah.
So an imperfect image there, but he returns with that power. However, later when he does give up his life, which he was willing to do, and ultimately that's what happens. The Count Rugen, the one who tortures him with the machine that sucks hours out of his life, subjects him to what he calls ultimate suffering. And, he's just tortured and, beyond what he can bear. And he eventually mostly dies. And it's just a remarkable image of Christ on the cross. I mean, he gave up his life for us so that we could be set free, so that we could live.
Right.
And then he dies. And then, of course, he's resurrected. Anytime there's a resurrection in a story, you can count that character is probably a Christ figure.
Right, to some degree. It's never perfect, like we're saying. Wesley's not Christ. There's issues there, of course.
Right.
But in that scene, it's a little nugget of it, I think.
Yeah.
It's really cool. The best scene from the whole movie, and I had a thought on it, but I just want to talk about how cool the scene was first. The fight scene between Inigo Montoya and Wesley when they first meet, and he helps him climb up the side of the rock. No, get your breath first. Don't, take your time. We'll fight in a minute to the death.
Exactly.
The way, and they share their stories with one another, and they both don't want to kill the other one, but they have to, or at least they think they do.
Yeah.
That fight scene is like my favorite scene in the whole movie, I think.
That is incredible. Yeah.
What's cool about it is it's hilarious, but it's also like pretty decent fight scene. It's not bad. It's a decent fight scene. It's not like they just threw together, oh, we'll just swing these swords around. They actually put thought into it.
Oh yeah.
You know.
This is what a lot of the book ends up being about.
Yeah.
Because that fight scene was, for what it's worth, stunt doubles, relatively easy thing to do. That entire fight scene is Carrie Elwes and Mandy Patinkin.
That's awesome.
There are no stunt doubles in that entire, with the exception of the times that they do like the flippy flips. When he does like the flip around on the bar, they had a stunt double do that, and he jumps. But all of the fighting is actually them. They had to learn to fence from zero practice, from zero experience, all the way to fencing left and right-handed, all throughout the course of making this movie. So they shot that at the very end, so they had time to practice. And the script refers to it as the greatest sword fight in modern times. And I am tempted to agree.
It's up there.
It is remarkable. And the guy who trained them he's the sword master who has done all these great movies. He's the guy in Darth Vader's suit in Star Wars.
Huh.
The guy who trained Carrie and Mandy to do this movie. The two most masculine names I'm just putting together ever. Mandy and Carrie, the two guys.
Yeah.
But anyway, I forget his name.
I didn't know that about
he's the guy in Darth Vader's suit doing the sword fight. He choreographed
cool.
that. He did all the sword play in The Lord of the Rings. And this guy's just a legend in sword fighting. Just a remarkable, and I really should know his name. Now that I'm giving him so much.
So
credit.
one of the names that people, just because I'm a Star Wars nerd, so I'll just throw a name out there, and I know that multiple people were in the suit, so it may not be right.
Right. Yeah.
David Prowse.
No, it's not that one. I'm just gonna look it up just because I can.
Well,
I have the book right here. It won't take long.
It's good radio right here.
I know.
Do we have like hold music?
So the two fencers that trained Mandy and Carrie to film this scene are named Peter Diamond and Bob Anderson, and they both have incredible credentials. But Bob Anderson is the one I was thinking of that did Lord of the Rings and Star Wars and everything like that. He was Darth Vader in the suit during the fight scenes, at least. I'm sure that there were tons of people
that's
in
why
that
I say
suit.
I know there was a bunch of people that were involved in making that a reality, but that was the name that I knew of. So,
but anyway, just awesome scene. They did that whole thing. No stunt doubles. And at one point, Carrie broke his toe during filming. And so his toe was healing up. So during that time, it still wasn't completely healed. He was doing that with a broken toe.
Wow.
So, anyway, just a bunch of like really crazy stuff. He was riding around on Andre the Giant's ATV. They had to get an ATV to get him to and from places because he was too big to fit in most vehicles. And so he said, "Hey, you should ride this thing." Okay, he did, and then he fell and he broke his toe. And anyway,
that's awesome.
All kinds of shenanigans that they got into. But
that's awesome.
Fantastic fight scene. So what was it, Richard? What was it that stood out to you about that fight scene?
Well, the fight scene, one of the things, and this is just reaching, but it's just something that entered my mind watching it. So they're passionately fighting one another. They're like giving it their all against one another, even to the point that they're tricking each other. Oh, I'm not left-handed. And they throw the sword to the other hand. They're definitely fighting. They're not holding any punches back, I should say. But they're being really respectful, and like they seem to like each other, and they are kind of regretting that they have to fight. They seem like they don't want to hurt one another, but they still fight passionately anyway. So it just occurred to me, like when I was watching it, that I wish that more often in Christian circles, like in debate on secondary matters, things that aren't that huge of a deal, if we could kind of be that way with one another, like passionately say, here's the reasons why I hold this position, but with that level of respect there. Like it's interesting to see that scene and see how that balances out. It's different. It's not what you normally see in any realm of conflict. Like you either fight passionately or nicely, not both.
Yeah.
But they were doing both. They were giving it their all and being really respectful. They liked one another to the point where Wesley doesn't kill him at the end. He lets him live. He calls him an artist. He doesn't want to harm him. Yeah. But he wanted to win. He didn't want to die himself either. But it just would be cool if in Christian circles, like what comes to my mind, and hi, Reformed pub. But on the Reformed pub, sometimes it goes down that way and sometimes it goes the other way. And I wish we could go down that way more often. When it's something, that good Christians disagree about, and they're studying the scriptures for themselves and trying to figure out what they stand on different things. I wish that we would be more graceful in that way sometimes.
It's
and
tough.
sometimes we are.
Right.
I've seen that definitely happen. Sometimes we're not, though. Sometimes we get heated because it's something we care a lot about. And sometimes we just think, well, how can someone not see it that way? That's crazy. And so then we start throwing snarky comments back
Slashing,
and forth. And
Yeah.
you can fight, like you can debate passionately and strongly and confidently without resorting to that sort of thing, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's possible.
Yeah,
I think
whether
it's hard.
formally or just in conversation.
Right.
It's definitely tough, though. I feel like that's contrary to our nature.
Yeah.
At least for me. Maybe other people don't struggle with this as much. But, you know, if you're like me, you struggle a lot with having to be right, as people have told me. I often need to be right.
I may have heard that at some point in my life as well. So about myself. So
and that's why we have a podcast, and we get to tell people how right we are.
One
all
day
the time.
we'll fight, and then it'll be awesome.
At some point, we'll disagree on here, and then it'll be an unstoppable force and an immovable object. But no, it's really tough to admit that somebody else. I mean, to even see a good debate or discussion where somebody says, "You know what? I don't know. You have a really good point there." That's the whole. You seem a decent fellow. I hate to kill you.
Yeah.
You seem a decent fellow. I hate to die.
I hate to die. Yeah, I love that line. The whole thing
is
is
epic. So quotable.
Awesome.
Such a quotable movie.
Yeah.
It is remarkable.
And even the point where Inigo still feels he needs to win the fight, and he's got tricks up his sleeves, but he says, "I admit that you're better than I am." But what did he say? He said something about. But
then
he
tells him
right.
that he's
but
actually right-handed.
You don't know, right?
Yeah.
So he pulls something out, but he basically even. Like, if we had that sort of grace in our life, like, you're much better at making your points than I am. and you are
But there is
beating me
something
up
you
right
don't
now.
know.
Right. But I do have this other thing I want to point out, to you know, things like that. Like, it would be nice if we would be able to do that as Christians. I think we can.
And walk away having respect for this person.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. Even Inigo Montoya, later on, he says, "No, we need this. We need the man in black." You know, he bested me. I mean, he didn't hold any animosity against him. He was just, he was good. He must have beat Vicini. Let's get that guy.
Yeah. And when you talk about that kind of leads into their characters as well. I thought it was cool to see the way they changed from being kind of like hired hands, reluctant villains, basically, to being changed people, I guess I would say. For them, Inigo kind of. He's still out for revenge. He's still,
he still
he
seeks
had the
his
same
revenge.
motivation from the beginning.
Yeah.
But we were talking earlier before the cast. I think that part of what happened there was they were drawn to him because they saw both his character and just like who he was, and so they wanted to have him lead them into this siege of the castle because they thought this is the only one that can do it. They had actually experienced some things with Wesley that said he can make this work.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of rings true in the Christian life too. Like there are points where you have something going on, you're just like, Jesus is the only way this is going to go anywhere. Grace is the only way this is going to go anywhere. So you call out to him just based on knowing that he's able.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of where they were. They, at that point, they weren't even sure if they could trust him, were they? Honestly, he didn't kill him, so I guess he kind of feels like he must have some goodwill.
They seem to have that kind of weird connection where they were like,
"Yeah,
I know that he's going to be a good." You know, like he didn't seem to question it much. He was like, "Let's find this guy. Let's get it going." And then enough to where they were willing to go to great lengths to raise him from the dead. I mean, to spend all their money and to get Miracle Max to raise him from the dead, from mostly dead at least. And so there was a great gamble on their part in knowing that, all right, well, we think that his character, that he's not going to betray us in this. That's a really good point. But they're basically just puppets at the beginning of this other guy, and they didn't want to be that anymore. And then eventually, of course, when he dies, they don't really know what to do. One of them becomes a hired hand for someone else. And the other one just starts drinking again. Yeah.
Sitting there waiting for him. Doesn't know what else to do.
Yeah. That's sort of, I think, an interesting picture of what it's like when you, sort of the way that it is with the old man, with the old nature, where you're trying to struggle against, and this might be reaching as well, where you're struggling against the way that you've always done things and this tendency that you have in your heart. And the idea is that now we have a new master. We are not subject to sin and to our old master anymore.
No,
sure, we
I don't
still
think
struggle
that's reaching
with
too
it.
far. I can definitely see that out of that part of the story too, where it's like he knows what he was under is gone. He knows that, but he's still there waiting for him. I'm waiting to see. Here I am. You told me to go back here. This is where I am. Even though it's futile. It's interesting.
Yeah,
for sure.
Such a great movie.
Yeah.
Again, we could go on about.
I think we said we weren't going to go long, and we are.
Yeah.
So, Yeah. Anything else before we move on to some voicemails, maybe?
Well,
Any other...
I mean, the one last thing, I thought we were going to do a little more of this, is marriage. Marriage is what brings us together today. Talk about the Princess Bride on the Popcorn Theology podcast. By the way, we would love to plug our friends over at the Wugged Marriage.
Wugged Marriage.
This is right up their alley. Hopefully, some of their listeners will this will catch their eye. Anyway.
True. Wow.
So yeah, one thing we said we were going to get into is the voicemails. We got 2 voicemails here, and we're going to go ahead and listen to them and respond to them. And again, we will find the number while we're listening to this one.
Yeah, and
I still didn't look for it.
And hopefully this works. This is our first time trying this, so be patient with us.
Bear with
It
us.
sounds
Yes.
weird.
Thank you.
We're figuring it out.
All right, so this first one is from Andrew Beaver.
Hey guys, my name is Andrew Bieber. I found out about you guys via the Rugged Marriage podcast.
Hey.
Started listening to you guys early this week and finally caught up and heard you guys say that nobody's used the voice mail option, and so I just wanted to call and leave a voicemail. Don't really have a question or a topic I'd like to discuss, but just wanted to encourage you guys. I appreciate what you're doing. I love hearing your opinions and hearing how intentional you are with how you view media and entertainment and how you're able to perceive the gospel and that and share it with others. So anyway, just keep doing what you're doing. I love the podcast. I appreciate what you guys are doing. And that's all. Thanks. Bye.
Hey, thanks, Andrew. Really appreciate it.
That's awesome.
It's nice to hear some other people's voices on here.
Yeah, seriously.
More than just the two of us.
People keep calling because that's nice. Like, we
Yeah.
got to take a break there for a second. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. We've been really encouraged by all the people that have actually enjoyed the cast so far. Like, I can't believe people will listen to this. There's people that we know in person, too, that'll say how much they enjoy it. And it's kind of like weird.
Yeah,
Weird.
I had a guy at church that I've never spoken to in person come up and start talking to me about a movie because he saw me talking to Richard, and I think Richard must have told him that I was David, and so he just
assumes that you're okay to walk up to and just start talking
I
about
was like,
movies.
do I know
then.
you? And he said, oh, I listen to the podcast. I'm like, oh, okay, how's it going? Type thing. So.
Yeah, I've been quoted to myself now, which is really weird. It's strange. But we really appreciate the feedback. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Call back, like, if you have any questions or topics for us to talk about, call in again. That was awesome.
And this next one is from
Alex Humphrey.
Alex Humphrey, there we go.
Now, is that the Alex Humphrey of Wugged Marriage?
I believe it is, Richard. All right.
Hey guys, this is Alex Humphrey from Dallas, Texas.
Hey, Alex.
I just want to call and tell you that I think you're doing an amazing job. I'm really enjoying the podcast. My wife and I often listen to it together and just kind of it starts really good conversations with us about movies and TV shows and things like that. And in general, I'm a lot more into movies and TV shows than she is, but she really likes the conversations we have out of it. I wanted to ask you a little bit, see if you talk a little bit more about Age of Ultron. Spoilerific review was fantastic. There's so much in that movie. One of the things I kind of took away from it that I thought was interesting that I haven't really heard a lot of people mention yet was just the image of God that Ultron has of himself, and not in the sense, I mean, everyone obviously, it's very heavy-handed in the movie, but what I mean is he's looking to, so he doesn't want to just destroy the human race in the movie, right? He wants to remake them in his own image, and any who won't come with him and be remade into his image, he's going to kill. He's going to destroy them all and start over with a new race. So I'd love to hear you guys talk about that idea of us wanting ultimately to make the world in our image, that sinfully, ultimately, deeply, we want everyone else to be in our image, basically, for us to be God, and for everything to be under our power and our decisions. Anyway, thanks again so much for the cast. I'm really enjoying it.
Hey, thanks so much, Alex.
That's awesome. Yeah. So how long ago? Was it 2 weeks ago we talked about
I think so,
Avengers now? So this has been sitting there for a little bit. We're finally now getting to it. But so he mentioned that Ultron wanted to make everybody into, like, he didn't want to kill mankind. I'm not sure if I got that from that.
Yeah, I was that I guess would be the one thing that I maybe disagree a little bit with.
Or maybe I just missed some part of it that I didn't understand.
Well, his plan certainly did. Spoiler alert. His plan certainly, because this is so unique for bad guys, destroying the world.
Yeah.
So unique. No, it was a great movie. As far as not wanting to destroy the human race, it did seem to me that he totally did want to destroy the human race. But in making Vision, he seemed to be starting something else. At some point, he says, after this happens, everything on Earth that's alive will be made of metal. Yeah. So, but I can see where you're going with wanting to remake them in his own image because they're shaped like humans.
And I'm seeing when he said, like he in the voicemail, Alex had said that he didn't want to kill humankind. He wanted to remake them in his image. I'm not sure like that I got that. Maybe there's some plot device I was missing. But later on in the voicemail, he said he wanted to remake the world in his image. And I do see that. He wanted to take the world and craft it to be exactly what he thought it should be. Everyone to be not just like him, but really everyone to be him.
Yeah.
They're all him, you know. So I think that definitely is part of what's at play there. I didn't know. For me, it felt like he wanted to kill everybody.
Yeah, I think he wanted to kill all the true people, all the actual humans. But I guess
I
a
don't
case
read
could
comics
be made.
either, though. Maybe there's some plot element there that I'm not following.
Perhaps. Yeah, perhaps. I mean, it could be that we just
Follow
don't know
up
enough
with us
about
on
Ultron.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct us if we're wrong about this.
Explain to us how he was trying to remake people rather than kill them. Because I thought he was just trying to exterminate them all.
The one thing that I could say would fit with this is the way he builds Vision. He builds Vision by the character Vision by fusing human tissues with vibranium, which is what eventually I believe what his latest body is made of, is vibranium. So it's sort of biological and metallic, but it's also programmed, and it was meant to be his consciousness. But I guess you could make the case that in that way he was trying to remake mankind in his image, probably to make more of those types of, more people like Vision for him to inhabit and to use. But at one point, Tony Stark mentions, when they're back at Hawkeye's little hideout, he mentions something about why is he using the human form? The human form is outmoded. That we're not really efficient. Why is he still using it? That sort of gets into a whole intelligent design thing, which, trust me, I love to talk about. But
it's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
But not right now.
There's going to be like a 2-hour special.
But it is not this day. The idea, a lot of people use those arguments that were poorly designed, which is like a sucker punch to God's stomach, as if that hurts.
Right.
But anyway, I think the case there is that there are more efficient ways to do, especially if you can fly, than to have 2 arms and 2 legs, to do things a little more efficiently as a robot than that way. But why did he want to go through that? And then Banner catches on to the whole idea that they want to evolve. They want to undergo metamorphosis like a butterfly. And again, there was so much happening there. I really don't entirely know what was meant by that. But he certainly did want to change the world in that way. But I think that I for one am missing the heart of what Alex is asking so far. Basically, what he's asking is, how does that parallel his desire to be like God in this story? Did anything like that stand out to you?
Yeah, I mean, definitely he had a God complex in the story, especially when it came to like wanting to lay down justice just however he saw fit. Like whatever he thought was just is what it was, and he was going to rend his verdict on all of humanity. He definitely had a God complex going on. Most villains do. Yeah. Most people do, for that matter.
I was going to say.
For that matter, when he's talking about, when Alex had mentioned, though, wanting to remake like everyone else in your own image, what came to my mind was, I don't know if you've ever been a part of a church or a group of people where over time everybody kind of starts dressing the same, having the exact same opinion about every single issue out there. And I think that comes from the leadership down sometimes, where it's kind of fostered that way. And so like what that puts me in mind of, as far as how that looks in like actual life, is where that sort of thing happens, where if you're not like me, then you're wrong. Not you're wrong on an issue and I think I'm right, but like you need to be like me. You need to value the things I value. You need to, even secondary things, you need to value them as the same priority levels that I do. We all need to sing the same songs, listen to the same people. watch the same things,
be made angry about the same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's not the case in the Christian life. Shouldn't be.
Right.
We have unity, but we have diversity at the same time. So I think Ultron there could be an image for what it looks like when that sort of charismatic cult of personality type thing does take over sometimes, where it's suddenly you're exporting your own personality onto all these other people that you have influence over,
Yeah,
it happens.
That can happen in all kinds of different groups.
It ain't as exact like Ultron where he's the same person cloned over and over, but in effect it becomes that. It can easily become that. Yeah,
definitely. And I think that if you go back to the original sin, with Adam and Eve, that was the draw of eating the fruit wasn't, there's no other fruit around and we're going to starve. No, the draw was there's something unique about this fruit. Yeah. If we eat this, we'll be rebelling against God. But the serpent has convinced us that it will make us like God, to know good and evil, and to be like him and to make our own decisions. And I believe it was this past week that our pastor Jacob mentioned that and mentioned the...
he probably mentions that at some point every week.
He does. I love that because it's so crucial.
You need to hear that a lot.
Yeah. And
sure.
But yeah, the idea there is that we all want to be God in our own lives. We all want to be in charge. We all want to be in control. And so even in having other people fall in rank behind us, have the same opinions as us. I mean, one of the most difficult things is to disagree with somebody and hold respect for one another.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier with the fight scene.
Boom.
With that. It's look, we tied it all together.
Full circle.
Yeah, full circle. But I think that is, those go hand in hand, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So I hopefully that answered your question, Alex. If
Get
not,
back to us, because I want to see where you saw that he wanted to change humanity.
I think the one thing that I'm wondering about is the Maximoff twins. If the plan was to destroy all of life,
was he eventually gonna?
What was the plan for them? I assume he would have saved them.
Didn't they allude at one point that he was going? Eventually he's going to turn on you guys too.
I
thought
maybe
they
Cap
told
said
them that at some point. You think he won't? You think he'll keep you around? You think once your usefulness runs up, you think he's not going to just throw you away too? I think it was something like that. I could be remembering completely wrong.
Oh, that's the problem with sociopaths and evil robots is that if they're using everyone else, why would you think that they care about you? But that's always the problem is why are people trying to destroy the world? That's where we live. Yeah. But at least with the robots, it makes sense.
Right.
They don't need the same things.
Right.
Wipe out mankind. They're probably still going to be okay. Yeah. Although I maintain, where do they get their power from?
I don't know.
They don't have little arc reactors. That would make sense. Anyway.
Who knows?
But if the hammer's in an elevator, then...
Thank you for the voicemail, Alex. Again, if you haven't checked out Rugged Marriage, those guys are doing something awesome. They have a 2-part episode this week. Calvinist Batman. Okay, so Calvinist Batman invited himself onto our show in July.
Oh,
are we gonna accommodate the Calvinist Batman?
I feel like this is the first time I'm hearing about this.
Really? I thought you saw that. He wants to come on and discuss Ant-Man when it comes out.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I remember now.
Okay.
Let's do it. Yeah, whatever.
Okay,
Ant-Man.
We'll do that. Yeah. So, but he's long-winded. Every time he does it, right now, I don't know if he listens to us or not. We'll find out.
I'm sure he does now.
We'll find out now. But he's got his podcast right now, I think it's 2 or 2.5 hours long, the last episode was. And then he was on Rugged Marriage, and they had to split that into 2 parts. I don't know, Calvinist Batman. You might have to rein it in a little bit.
Maybe we'll have 2 versions of it. We'll have a human-sized version, which will be an hour and a half. And then we'll have an ant-sized version.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
And it'll be 30 minutes or something like that. And it'll just be the highlights.
Yeah.
We'll just cut out all of the space in which we breathe. It'll just be words, like an auctioneer. Like a 30-minute auctioneer podcast. That'll be great.
He's something else. I think that'll be fun having him on. And we need to figure out the guesting thing. So we'll have guests on in the near future so we can figure that out before we host Batman.
Real Batman.
We got to get that, any Batman. If their name's Batman, we need to have this down.
We'll figure it out before.
Down. Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Maybe we can just outsource the technological side of it to him somehow. But,
maybe we can.
Well, because if he's Batman...
I'm sure he's got
something on his utility belt for that, I'm sure.
Yeah. It'll be easy.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks again, Alex. If you haven't checked out Rugged Marriage, definitely check them out. I guess we're wrapping up here.
Yeah.
We already mentioned the Facebook group. Join us. Popcorn Theology. It's really easy to find. Twitter @Popcorn Theology. That's where Calvinist Batman reached out to us. And we've had a lot of people share our episodes there. People give us encouraging comments there. We appreciate that. That helps. Makes us want to keep doing this.
Some good conversation on the spiritual side and some on the more entertainment.
We have a lot of light stuff. We have some pretty deep conversations. Everyone has been fairly Wesley and Inigo-like so far. So let's keep that up. That's good. Feedback at popcorntheology.com if you want to leave an email. No one's made use of that. I don't really know if there's a point to that.
Yeah, it's okay. Good. So don't forget, go on iTunes, rate us, give us 5 stars, say some good stuff about us. If you have any negative things, contact us privately or just keep it to yourself. Either one.
We twue wove you guys.
Woo
guys? I can't do that accent.
You guys.
Because Y's become W's. Woo guys.
You woo guys.
Twue wove.
Twue wove.
Anyways.
It's slowly becoming Elmer Fudd.
Yep. It's just Fudd now.
All right. Well, take care. Have a great week, and we'll catch you back here next week. In the meantime, continue to consciously engage everything that you encounter, and just remember to do everything you do for the glory of God.
Amen.
Thanks for watching this episode of Popcorn Theology. For more content, subscribe on YouTube. Follow and interact on social media to help broaden the conversation. Check out our archive of past episodes at popcorntheology.com or wherever you listen to podcasts, and consider becoming a patron saint by supporting us on Patreon, which lets you interact, influence, and enjoy exclusive bonus content.